What's happening, YouTube? KitePlanet here, or Kite if you're like that. Some people aren't like that, but I'm like that. I know what you're thinking. You're like, a Nen Ability again? Hatsu again? Come on, like this, it gets confusing. We want to do something else. I am. Trust me, guys. I got some nice characters and different power systems collaborating and mingling right now. I got them on my workbench. I'm hammering out the impurities. I'm getting them all nice and neat. The reason you're here is because I'm gathering all of the anime community intellectuals. So all the intellectuals from every single verse, every single fandom, every single fan base. I'm gathering them all here with these videos. And so you like being stimulated intellectually with these, power systems that I've created. You like that. I like that too. That's why I create the videos. So give you some time. I got them coming down the pipeline. Trust, I got some good things coming. I want you to see them. And I really just want to show you what I got. I'm going to put a thumbnail up of something that's coming soon. I don't know exactly when it's coming, but it's coming. Just take a look at this thumbnail real quick. I'm not going to put it up for very long. Take a look. Tell me that's not clean. That's coming. That's coming. That is coming right soon. I don't know what to tell you. It's coming soon. Hit the like button, subscribe if you want to see that video, if you want to be around to get the notification or whatever. Hit the like button, subscribe. So today I'm going to be crafting and creating a Nen Ability or Hatsu for Isagi YOICHI. That's what I'm going to be doing. Now, it's going to be a little bit of a different ability because this is a soccer anime, a soccer manga, a sports manga. So I can't create abilities like I've created on my last videos where they could commit great atrocities and maim people. I can't create something like that because this is not what that is. This is not, Blue Lock is not like that. So I have to create something useful, something a more mild ability, but still complex in and of itself, something that fits the character. So if you're here and you understand Blue Lock, you understand Isagi, you'll like this one. If you don't really understand Isagi, you'll still like the creation of the ability. So there's something for everybody here. But first things first, guys, you know what we got to do. We got to keep the main thing the main thing. And all that means is we have to decide what Nen Affinity Isagi is going to be. Out the gate, we eliminate Enhancer for obvious reasons. If you know, you know. Enhancer is not in Isagi's bag at all. Next, we're going to eliminate the Specialist category, because I'm not giving that out to everybody. Isagi is not in need of it. He's not worthy of it, I should say. He doesn't need it, to be honest. So you got 4 categories left. You got Emitter, Transmuter, Manipulator, and Conjurer. Either one of any of these would work fine with Isagi. I could create one for Isagi out of each one of these. But there's one that sticks out like a sore thumb. And if you know, you know. That category is Manipulator. We are going to make Isagi's specialty Manipulation, for obvious reasons. Okay, so now we have to get down to the name of the ability. I like this name. It took me a little bit, but I came to it. And the name of Isagi's Hatsu is going to be Empathy's Grudge. Kind of a term that, contradicts itself, but we'll get into that later. As the ability goes on, you'll understand why. So, what does Empathy's Grudge do, you may ask? Since you asked so nicely, let me tell you. Okay, so Isagi can share the emotions and feelings of people. That's what his ability does. He can share in the emotions and feelings of people. You may be like, that's nothing. That's boring. But stick around. You're gonna figure out how this is pretty broken. All right, especially for what Isagi does. All right, so how does Empathy's Grudge work? How does he share in people's emotions? What are the steps? What does he have to do? So by touching a person, he can, and like leaving his aura on them and whatever, he can share in the emotional state and feelings of that person. They come through clear. They transmit directly to Isagi. And the more emotional, the more their emotions rise and things get tense, the clearer their picture is to Isagi, the clearer he can feel them. Like he can feel them as if they're his own emotions, yet he can distinguish between his and other people's easily. He can tell, oh, this is this person feeling like this might happen. So trust me, it's a broken ability. How does he activate this ability? Okay, so step 1, he has to touch a person, right? And then he has to insult them or praise them. Step 2 is insulting them or praising them. And then step 3 is they have to react to either the insult or the praise, whichever one he gave to them. And once he does that, the little aura he left on them by touching them the first time seeps into them. And then that's how the ability becomes manipulation. And the results is the emotions and feelings transmit directly to Isagi. So empathy's Grudge. I touch someone, insult or praise them, they react, and then now their emotions and feelings transmit directly into me. I can feel them as if they're my own feelings. That is Isagi's ability. So I called it empathy's Grudge because he's sharing their emotions. He can feel what they feel. That's what empathy is, when you can look at someone who's feeling something and share in that sympathy. So that's the empathy part. But grudge is, you hold a grudge against somebody. You hold something against them and you not forget how they hurt you. You use it against them. And so he's using their feelings against them. That's why I've called it empathy's Grudge. I hope the name makes sense. So there are subcategories. He has sub abilities that come along with this ability. So he can share in their emotions. Say the game's getting super hot, right? They're playing soccer, everything's cool, and we're going hard, and the game's getting down to the nitty gritty. Everyone's emotions go up. Everyone's feelings for the game, they get real tense. Everyone that Isagi has touched, their emotions start to transmit to him perfectly. So if Isagi has the ball, he'll be able to likely feel somebody coming up behind him to steal the ball because their emotions will switch. He'll be like, oh, like someone's targeting me. Like, okay, move, I gotta move. Someone's feeling like resentment, or someone's feeling like anger, someone's getting real excited, oh, they may have the ball. Like, he doesn't even have to look or turn around. He can feel if someone has the ball. And that brings me to my next ability, or Isagi's next ability, I should say, where he can track everyone he's touched like a radar. So this ability is called Radiant Nerve. So everyone that he's touched, he can essentially track them. Their feelings come through. It's kind of like he uses his N to do it. They serve as his N. This is how he's able to do this. N is the advanced application of Ten and Ren, where you use Ren to expand your aura and Ten to maintain its shape. And anybody who's within your N, you can tell everything about them. Their height, weight, shape, size, and even their aura and how their aura is. So basically he can track them by, their metrics, their specs, by Radiant Nerves. If he touched them, he can tell everything about them, where they're at, and that's basically like a radar, and that serves as like the Metavision ability. So Radiant Nerve, where he can track these people, is basically Metavision, because he can see these people without even looking at them. He can tell their future by not even seeing them, because he can read their emotional state. If Isagi has the ball and he's touched basically everyone on the field or whatever, a few people, he touched all the defenders, if he has the ball and he's reading all the emotions from people and someone gets like real excited, he'll be like, oh, like this person's probably behind me. Like they're probably about to make a play on the ball. So he can just instantly make a move to stop that. It's really a broken ability because he can track people, and he's not tracking them by like seeing them. He's tracking them by just feelings, and it's super broken. People wouldn't even notice it. All right. So another subcategory or sub ability he gets from this Hatsu is called the Heart's Eye. And what he does is, if he stands still, he can spread his N along the ground and gather all the current people within his N's feelings. So he can't just go around touching everybody. There's like a limit. Let's just give him a limit of like 8 people. So anything over 8 would be like too much feelings and emotions to where he can't decipher too well. So 8 is like a hard limit. So 8 might be too high. Let's give it 4. No, 3. We're going to give it 3. So he can only use this ability on 3 people at one time. That makes it really hard for Isagi to decide, who am I going to use this ability on? Like, let's say in the current manga, Isagi's facing PXG, and he's facing Rin and Shido and Kaiser, or Kaiser's on his team, but he has to decide out of everybody on the pitch, who does he want to touch and use his ability on? If it was me, I'd touch Rin, I'd touch Kaiser, and then, I try to figure, maybe Charles is the third. And so I'll use my ability to constantly be transmitted their feelings, because they're the most dangerous people on the pitch. And if I really need to gather the situation, I'll use Heart's Eye, where I can stand. The rule is, the condition to use Heart's Eye is you have to be standing still. And we've seen Isagi stand still on the pitch quite a few times, where he's just like, oh, okay. So he uses Heart's Eye. He stands still, emits his N across the ground, and then he can gather everyone on the pitch, feelings and emotions, and it's not too much for him because he's standing still and he's only focused on doing that. but he can only do 3 people while he's running around and trying to figure out everything. So that's the trade-off for that. That makes sense. And it works as his in, and then Radiant Nerve, where he tracks the people he touched perfectly, like radar. That's essentially like his metavision. He can tell the future of the field because he can clearly see like these people moving. It's not just he's feeling them. He can actually track them like radar. So that takes a lot of aura. So he can't use that all the time. He can only use it for like brief moments of like 3, 4, or 5 seconds. Like nothing crazy. But he could track them perfectly. Only the people that he's touched. Okay, so now we have to do a restriction. What would be the restriction for this ability? Okay, so let's say he can only use this ability while on the soccer field. So if you think of in the world of Nen, if you put Isagi in like the Hunter, almost bit my tongue, in the Hunter x Hunter verse, only being able to use your ability when you're on a soccer pitch is like crazy. Like that is dumb. That would be a stupid condition to set because you wouldn't be able to protect yourself. But he doesn't need to protect himself because he's just a regular guy. He plays sports. He's not out here fighting people. So that setting that condition would boost his ability a lot, give him a boost in aura and boost the strength of the ability a lot by only being able to use it on a soccer field. Another restriction we're going to set is once he activates this ability, after he deactivates it or it shuts off, 72 hours he can't use it again. So 3 days. So even if he decides, hey, I'm gonna activate my ability for 2 minutes and I'm gonna stop, even if it was only active for 2 minutes, but the cooldown is 3 days. So that's on him. But, you know, as long as he uses it, if he can use it for however long he wants, he can use it for the whole match if he wants. You know, because his restrictions, I think they allow, 90 minutes is quite a long time. So maybe not. Maybe we don't do a cooldown period of 72 hours. 72 hours is kind of crazy. Let's give it a 10-minute cooldown period. That way, if he wants to use it in this time period, he can for however long he wants, and then 10 minutes, and then he can activate it again. But if he maxes it out and maxes it to where he passes out, because he's done that before, if he does it to where he just runs out of aura and passes out and can't maintain the Hatsu, then there's a 72 hour. So if he pushes it to its limit and uses all 3 abilities, that would be Empathy's Grudge, like the main Hatsu, and then Radiant Nerve and Heart's Eye. If he uses all those, then boom, that's 72 hours. Can't use the ability anymore, and yeah. But that's fine because he plays soccer. I don't know how many days are in between soccer games, but 3 days is kind of fine. He may have it for some days. He may not have it. You just never know. That's what comes with conditions and restrictions. So I really like this ability because I feel like it explains what Isagi does on the pitch. He basically can tell people's mental states, and that's without this ability. So if you give him this ability, it kind of fills in all the gaps for what Isagi is able to do. You remember how at the beginning of the video, I said enhancers out. Because Isagi, his physical is among the lowest of the people still in the series. So he can't be an enhancer. But you wonder, how is he able to make these plays if his physical is so weak? It's so behind everybody's. Well, it's because of this Hatsu, because of Empathy's Grudge. The fact that he can share and basically see the field from a 3rd dimension by using feelings. He can touch people and their feelings come through perfect. Like if he touches Kaiser, Kaiser doesn't really become a threat to him. At least not like sneaking up on him or trying to overrule and get the jump on him. Because Isagi can feel when Kaiser's about to make his move. The same with all the other peoples he's touched. And if he really needs to, he can use, Radiant Nerve and track them all at the same time. He doesn't need to switch on and off. He can just be like, all right, where are the key people at on the pitch? Radiant Nerve, where are they at? Boom, boom. Oh, he's over there. He's over there. So that's how that works. And then you have Heart's Eye where he stands still and really needs to assess the entire game. He stands still, emits the N across the entire field, and then he can take in everything, everybody's feelings and emotions. So he's like, oh, okay, this person's going to do this. They're probably going to go for that. Okay, I have a good feel and flow for the game. So this would be, Heart's Eye would mainly be used for if he was coming off the bench and really needed to gather the feel of the game and the flow of the game, because he doesn't know what's really happening. He just got in the second half. So he just hasn't been playing. He doesn't know what's going on. He steps on the pitch, activates Empathy's Grudge by, maybe he uses to touch a teammate, says, yo, I touch you, put my aura on you. Hey, you're doing a really good job out there. And they say, wow, thanks, Isagi. Ability activated. Now he can use Heart's Eye to stand still and gather the layout, the feeling, and the overall flow of the game. perfect ability for that. So I think these abilities work great with Isagi. It really explains everything he's able to do. I think it's really cool, and it's basically my take and interpretation of how Isagi's able to do this, regardless of him being weak physically. You know, it's all in his mind. It's all like cleverness and cunning. That's how Isagi's able to do with that, and adaptability. So this plays when he can see your feelings, he can adapt to your feelings. So this Hatsu allows him to do a multitude of things. You know, he can basically see when you're about to use your ability as well, because when you're about to do something, your emotions flare, whatever emotion it may be. He would be able to stop destruction mode Rin very easily with this ability, because if Rin goes out of control, and at the same time, it won't work on the higher level people. Because think about Noah or Snuffy getting into the game, and say he touches Noah and gets his ability on Snuffy or Noah. Their emotions won't be jumping up like everybody else's, because this game means nothing to them, because they're playing a bunch of kids. So when Noah gets the ball, he's not going to get a boost of excitement like Yuki Mia or Rin or Shido or anybody would get, or Baro. He's not going to get that because he's not playing amongst his peers. He's playing against kids. So it doesn't matter. He's just going to get the ball, juke him up, and go score with little to no emotion. So, and it will work on someone like Livigno, even who does show a lot of emotion. But Isagi can't stop him, because that emotion, it's hard to read, because it's not the same emotion. It's not emotion towards the game. It's not emotion because of the game. It's emotion that he's just with. He always has it. So there's not a fluctuation with someone like Livigno. So he gets in the game hype. He stays hype. There's no fluctuation. So Isagi can't read someone like that. So it doesn't work on higher level people, or people that are above him in just mental state, like, or just physical state as well. Like, they're too high, like pros, they don't feel any switches and tension in the game, because it's not up to their par. It's not up to skill level for them. So this ability makes sense on different levels. If you really think about it, if you really understand Blue Lock, this ability makes perfect sense. And I think that's it. We're not going to do post-mortem Nen, obviously, because there's no need for that in this series. But yeah, I'm going to go over it one last time at the very end. Empathy's Grudge. He shares people's emotions and uses them against that person. That's why it's called Empathy's Grudge, a contradicting, name. So he touches a person, leaves a little amount of aura on them, insults them, praises them. They react, and the aura gets absorbed into them. That's also another thing. If he touched Noah and said something to Noah would be like, he wouldn't even react. So he wouldn't even be able to activate his ability on like the pros, to be honest. But yeah, that's how. Then the result of him meeting those conditions is him being able to share their emotions. And then as the game gets better and better, or more tense and tense, Isagi's abilities go stronger and stronger. He's able to read people. So, it's a perfect ability. It makes sense with the soccer. It makes sense with the flow. It makes sense with the level of character. Really a perfect ability. And I even gave him like branches of his Hatsu. Like Crollo's Double Face is a subcategory Hatsu of Skill Hunter. It's a bookmark for his book, where, for Isagi's reading on feelings, he can track people by those feelings, Radiant Nerve. And he can also grab the essence and flow of the game with Heart's Eye. He's got a cooldown, can't use the ability for long amounts of time, but he can, use it for 10 minutes on, 10 minutes off, 10 minutes on. That's the condition. That's what I'll say. For however long he uses it, he has to cool down that amount of time. That's a perfect condition. So I'm glad it came to me at the end. I got it at the end. So let me know your thoughts on this. If you're a true Blue Lock fan, I can do another Blue Lock character. Drop that down in the comments. And also, as always, drop what characters you want to see. I need the ideas, guys. I mean, I don't need them, but I like hearing and seeing what you guys have to say. I'm very interested in it. Intellectuals, remember? Gathering all the intellectuals here. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, and as always, I will catch you in the next one, guys. Peace.